3 men were pouring cement straight into my wellhead. One of them looked up, wiped his hands, and said, "HOA orders. You're done with this little water stunt." By the time I got the cops on the line, half the pipe was already sealed. When we moved out here 2 years ago, I honestly thought we'd found our place. It wasn't some big dream house, but it had a huge yard, old oak trees out back, and enough space for Sophie to run wild and Ben to build his ridiculous bike ramps. After a decade of apartment living, Anna and I wanted one thing: space, quiet, and a sense that the kids could grow up somewhere better than a strip of concrete. I still remember our first night there. We ate takeout on the floor, surrounded by unpacked boxes. Sophie kept racing between rooms, yelling that this was the best house ever. Ben just asked where we could put up a basketball hoop. The next morning, I turned on the tap to fill the coffee pot and stopped. The water smelled like metal. At first, I thought maybe it was the old pipes, but this was new construction. There weren't old pipes. Anna laughed it off, said we'd get used to it. We bought a filter pitcher, then a bigger filter for the sink. Didn't help much. Coffee still tasted like battery acid. I called the HOA. They told me not to worry. "Our water is certified and meets all state standards," the woman chirped on the phone. "Yeah, maybe on paper. A couple months in, things got worse." Sophie started breaking out in rashes, red welts on her arms and legs. At first, we thought it was detergent. We changed brands, switched shampoos, cut out certain foods. Nothing worked. One night, Anna sat on the bathroom floor with Sophie, trying not to cry while applying yet another round of ointment. Sophie looked miserable, and that's when I knew we were done playing guessing games. I drove an hour out of town to a private lab, brought them a full gallon of our tap water, and paid extra for rush analysis. 2 days later, the report hit my inbox. I still have it saved. Elevated nitrates, high levels of dissolved iron, manganese slightly above recommended limits, trace amounts of volatile organics, right at the edge of what's considered safe. And the kicker? Recommended alternate water source for vulnerable populations. That was all I needed to see. I called the county health department, spoke to a guy named Mark, super helpful, asked him point blank, do I have the legal right to drill my own well? His answer, absolutely, as long as I follow the permitting process and file the proper notifications. I filed everything. Waited the required 30 days. Hired one of the best well drillers in the county, guy named Carl, who'd been doing this for 25 years. The day the rig showed up, that's when the real fun began. I was out front when a black SUV rolled up, window down, Philip Vance, HOA president, leaning over the wheel with that politician's grin he always wore. "Big project you've got going on there, Nate," he said. "Yep," I replied. "Clean water for my family. Shouldn't be controversial, right?" His smile tightened. "You're making a mistake," he said. "It's not just about you. It's about community cohesion, uniform services, shared responsibility. You drill that well, you're sending a message." I just looked at him. "Message is simple," I said. "My kid's health comes first." He didn't argue, just nodded once and drove off. But from that point on, the gloves were off. Carl drilled the well, installed a full filtration system. We got our pump running. First glass of water out of that tap, pure, cold, crystal clear, tasted better than anything I'd had in years. Within 2 weeks, Sophie's rashes disappeared. Anna cried the night she realized we could finally bathe our kids without worry. I thought maybe, just maybe, that would be the end of it. But when people like Philip Vance see someone standing up to their little empire, they don't let it go. And this was just the start. It started with a letter. No knock on the door, no phone call, just a plain white envelope slipped into our mailbox. No postage. Someone had walked it over. HOA letterhead right at the top. Big bold title, notice of violation, unauthorized water source. I read it twice before I even realized I was holding my breath. They accused me of violating community standards regarding uniform utility services, whatever that meant, and slapped me with a $5,000 fine for unauthorized ground disturbance and unsanctioned modification of water infrastructure. I sat at the kitchen table turning that letter over and over. Anna leaned over my shoulder. "Can they do that?" she asked. "No," I said. "They can't, but they're trying to scare us." I checked every line of the HOA bylaws, spent the entire afternoon going through them. Nowhere, not one single clause, did it say I couldn't have a private well. The only language even close referenced modifications to visible exterior structures. Our wellhead was flush with the ground. The pump and system were entirely within code. That night, I emailed the HOA board a formal response, cited my permits, attached county approvals, pointed out the total lack of legal basis for their claim. 3 days later, things escalated. A county health inspector showed up at my door. Guy looked uncomfortable, mid-30s, clipboard in hand, very polite. "Mr. Calder, we received a complaint regarding possible unsafe water use on this property. Would you mind if I took a look?" I almost laughed, but I kept it civil, invited him in, showed him the permits, the filtration system, the lab tests we'd done, even poured him a glass of water straight from the tap. He smiled. "Honestly, this is probably the best water I've seen all month," he said. "Off the record, looks like someone's trying to stir the pot. You're clear." He left a formal notice of compliance anyway, just to cover both our backs. I thought maybe that would end it. Maybe Vance would take the hint. But no. Next morning, new signs went up at the neighborhood entrance, bright red and white banners on both sides of the street. Notice certain residences may be utilizing non-HOA approved water sources. For your safety, ensure you are using certified community water. I damn near drove off the road when I saw it. That afternoon, Anna came home from school looking like she'd been hit by a truck. "Someone cornered me in the parking lot," she said. "A mom from Sophie's class. She asked if we were giving our kids dangerous water, said the whole neighborhood was talking about it." I'd expected bureaucratic nonsense, petty fines, legal threats. I hadn't expected them to go after my family. That was the first time I realized this wasn't just about money anymore. It was about control, and Vance wasn't going to stop. The next move caught me off guard. About a week after the signs went up, I came home from picking up Sophie at gymnastics to find the house dark. I checked the lights, nothing. Tried the fridge, dead. Went down to the utility room, the main breaker was fine. Then I noticed the well pump controller flashing red. I grabbed a flashlight and headed out back. Opened the access panel on the pump system and found the main power cable cleanly sliced. Someone had come onto my property and cut the damn thing. Anna came out behind me with her phone. "I'm calling the police," she said. "No," I told her. "Not yet." First, I set up a camera. A good one, motion-activated infrared with cloud backup. Then I called Carl, the well guy. He came out the next morning and replaced the line, shook his head when he saw it. "This wasn't accidental," he said. "That's a precision cut. Someone wanted this offline." We kept quiet about it, didn't post anything, didn't tell the neighbors. I wanted whoever was behind this to think they were in control. That lasted 3 days. Then I got the next letter from the HOA. This time, it wasn't a violation notice, it was an invoice. $12,000 for what they called breach of community water contract, a contract I'd never signed. I sat there at the table staring at it while Ben worked on his homework beside me. Anna read over my shoulder and just laughed. "They're getting desperate," she said. I wasn't so sure, because the next day, the pressure shifted to our kids. Anna got pulled aside in the teacher's lounge by one of her colleagues. "You should know," she whispered. "Some parents are saying your kids shouldn't be drinking from the water fountains, that they might be contaminated." That night, Ben came home upset. "Some kids said we're not allowed to have friends over anymore," he said, "because we have bad water." I've never seen Anna so furious, but I told her, not yet. No public fight, not yet. We were being pushed, provoked. They wanted us to snap. I wanted proof. That camera I'd installed? It was about to pay off. Because a few nights later, just past midnight, I got an alert on my phone. Motion detected. I pulled up the live feed and froze. 2 figures moving through the yard. One carried a tool bag. The other held what looked like a spool of wire. They went straight to the wellhead. I didn't call the police, not yet. I hit record and watched. They didn't touch the pump this time, just took measurements, looked around, left. But now I knew. They were planning something bigger, and I was ready. I still wanted to believe this could be handled the right way. I didn't want to be that guy, the one suing the HOA, dragging everything through court, making life miserable for everyone around me. I wanted clean water for my family. That's it. So the next morning, I called the county again, spoke to Mark, the same guy who'd helped me with the permits, told him about the violation notices, the bogus invoice, the harassment. He sighed. "Honestly, they're bluffing," he said. "Your well is legal. Your permits are valid. They have no jurisdiction here, but if you want it on record, file a formal complaint." That afternoon, I did just that. Filed a complaint with the county. Filed a second one with the state's Consumer Protection Office. I also emailed the HOA board, all of them. Attached copies of my permits. Attached the county compliance notice from the health inspector. Attached photos of the sliced power cable. I ended with this line. "Any further interference with my property or harassment of my family will result in immediate legal action." I sent it, sat back, waited. 2 days later, I got a reply from Vance himself, short, condescending. Mr. Calder, you seem to misunderstand the spirit of community living. Independent actions that undermine our shared infrastructure are not compatible with the values of this neighborhood. I strongly advise you to reconsider your position. Translation: We don't care, we're not stopping. Anna wanted me to go public right then. Post it all, she said. People need to see what's happening. But I shook my head. Not yet, I told her. We're building the case. Let them hang themselves. Still, I wasn't going to wait for the next shoe to drop. I contacted a lawyer, a guy named Sam who'd come highly recommended. Former prosecutor, now in private practice, very sharp. Told him everything. He looked at me across his desk and said one thing. They're betting you'll fold. Don't. We drafted a formal cease and desist letter, cited the relevant property laws, demanded the HOA retract its false claims and immediately cease all interference. Served it to them that Friday. Legally, I'd done everything I could, but deep down, I knew what was coming. Because when you corner a guy like Vance, when you threaten his little empire, he doesn't back off. He escalates. The twist came from the last place I expected, Carl, my well guy. He showed up one afternoon to do a routine check on the system. After the cable incident, I'd asked him to swing by every couple of weeks. We were standing out by the wellhead when he leaned in, lowered his voice. You didn't hear this from me, he said, but you need to know, this whole fight, it's not about your well, not really. I frowned. What do you mean? Carl glanced around like someone might be listening. I did a job last year, another subdivision couple miles from here. They had the same water contract, same company, AquaClear. He paused. Word is the HOA president there tried to get a few folks to drill wells. AquaClear threatened to pull out. Turns out these contracts have a clause. If too many homes drop off the system, they can cancel the deal. With penalties. That caught my attention. Penalties for who? I asked. Carl nodded. The HOA, and in your case, Vance personally. Now I was really listening. That night, after the kids were in bed, I sat down with Anna and started digging. Public records, corporate filings, anything I could find on AquaClear. It took hours and a couple cups of very strong coffee, but the picture started to emerge. AquaClear LLC was owned by a shell company called Pinecrest Holdings. Pinecrest, in turn, was controlled by a trust. And that trust? It listed Philip Vance as its primary beneficiary. I sat back in my chair and stared at the screen. Anna leaned over my shoulder. Is that legal? She asked. Legal? Maybe, I said. Ethical? Hell no. But it got worse. I found a copy of the original AquaClear service contract for our subdivision, buried in the county records. Clause 17, subsection C. Should participation in the centralized water service drop below 90% of eligible residences, AquaClear LLC reserves the right to terminate the agreement and pursue liquidated damages in the amount of $500,000, payable by the contracting entity. Anna read it twice. So if too many people drill wells, Vance loses the contract, I finished, and he, or the HOA, eats a $500,000 penalty. Now it all made sense. The letters, the fake fines, the harassment, the sabotage. This wasn't about my family's water. It was about Vance's money. If I succeeded, others would follow. If too many followed, the whole scheme collapsed. And he couldn't let that happen. I looked at Anna. We need to be ready, I said. He's not done. And the next move? It's coming soon. I was right. Too right. Once I saw that contract, I stopped thinking about this like a neighbor dispute. This was fraud, plain and simple, and I needed to treat it like a case, not a personal grudge. First thing I did was call Sam, my lawyer. I sent him everything, the corporate records, the AquaClear contract, Vance's name on the trust. He called me back that afternoon. You've got gold here, he said, but we need more, concrete evidence of intent, direct links between Vance's actions and the harassment. I nodded. I'm working on it. Step 1. Finish building the paper trail. I filed a Freedom of Information request with the county for all correspondence between AquaClear and the HOA. I also pulled every HOA meeting minute for the past 3 years. Buried in one of them, a single line. Discussion of contract renewal incentives with AquaClear representative handled privately by Board President Vance. Handled privately? Right. Step 2. Catch them in the act. That motion-activated camera by the well had already given me one good clip. I upgraded it, bought a second one, installed both with full cloud backup. Then I got lucky. One of my neighbors, Linda, sweet older woman who lived 2 streets over, called me out of the blue. "Nate, I heard about what's happening," she said. "I'm so sorry. Listen, I was at a little HOA event the other night. Heard something you might want to know." She told me Vance had been overheard saying he was going to take care of the Calder problem permanently. Linda agreed to write a sworn statement. Step 3, prep the public side. Anna and I drafted a full timeline, every letter, every fake invoice, photos of the sliced power cable, the video of the 2 guys measuring my wellhead, screenshots of the trust ownership. We weren't posting it yet, not until we had the big one, and the big one came faster than I thought. Late one night, I got another camera alert, 3 figures this time, a pickup truck with a drum mixer in the back. They started hauling buckets of something toward my wellhead, cement. I hit record, called the cops. Then I ran out there, heart pounding, just in time to see one of them pour the first bucket straight down the pipe. You know the rest of that scene. But here's what you don't know. Those cameras caught everything. Full HD, clear faces, license plates. Sam took one look at the footage and said, "Now we go for the throat." That's when we finalized the plan. File a formal criminal complaint. Sue Vance personally for property damage, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. File a civil complaint against the HOA for breach of fiduciary duty and misuse of HOA funds. They'd paid for the signs and letters. Prepare a full media package, ready to go viral the moment we filed. I was done playing defense, and it was time to hit back. We didn't wait. The morning after the cement stunt, Sam filed the paperwork. Formal criminal complaint against Philip Vance. Property damage, trespassing, conspiracy to commit vandalism. Civil suit against the HOA and Vance personally. Harassment, breach of fiduciary duty, misuse of community funds, and about 4 other counts Sam rattled off like he'd been waiting years for a case like this. We also filed for an emergency injunction to stop any further interference with the well or my property. While Sam handled the legal side, Anna and I prepped the media push. We'd written out the whole timeline, attached all the evidence, the photos, the invoices, the letters, the county approvals, the video stills of the guys pouring cement. And then we posted it. Facebook neighborhood group first. Then Reddit, a couple of the big HOA horror story subreddits. Then I emailed it to the local news stations. Didn't take long. By noon, the Facebook post had hundreds of shares. Comments exploded, neighbors furious, people from other towns chiming in with their own stories. Reddit blew up too. But the real hit came that evening, when the local CBS affiliate ran the story. Lead segment, HOA chairman caught sabotaging homeowner's water supply, exclusive video inside. I watched it air with Anna on the couch, Ben and Sophie upstairs. I could feel my phone vibrating nonstop. Vance must have felt his burning too, because the next day my lawyer got a letter. Vance was trying to settle, quietly, privately. I said no. That same afternoon, the sheriff's department called. They'd reviewed the footage, identified the truck, the men involved. One of them worked for a landscaping company that had done work for the HOA. The other 2 were local contractors, paid cash, and they had enough to bring charges. I smiled for the first time in weeks, but I wasn't done yet. We held a community meeting that weekend. Anna and I put out flyers, posted online. Over 50 neighbors showed up. I told them everything. Walked them through the documents, showed them the ownership trail, the contract clause, the financial connection between Vance and Aqua Clear. By the end of the night, a dozen people told me they were filing for permits to drill their own wells. Vance's worst fear, coming true in real time. And as I looked around that room, I knew one thing. We had momentum, and we weren't stopping. The fallout hit faster than I expected. 3 days after the community meeting, the county issued a press release. They were launching an official investigation into the HOA's contract with Aqua Clear and into the personal financial ties between Vance and the company. The local news stations picked it up immediately. By the end of the week, it wasn't just a neighborhood story anymore. It was county news. And then state news. HOA president accused of water scheme, sabotage attempt. Investigation uncovers $500,000 clause behind HOA harassment. Caught on camera, HOA sabotage, plot sparks outrage. I couldn't keep up with the interview requests. Neither could Vance. Sam called me late one night, grinning through the phone. "He's cracking," he said. Tried to claim he had no idea what those contractors were doing. Problem is, we've got payment records. One of the contractors flipped, told investigators he'd been paid cash by Vance's personal assistant. Game. Over. The sheriff's department called the following morning. They were serving a warrant, seizing financial records from the HOA office, and they were issuing an arrest warrant for Vance. I couldn't believe it until I saw it with my own eyes. HOA emergency board meeting, packed room, news cameras rolling. Vance sat there, trying to project calm, but sweating through his suit jacket. When the deputies walked in, the whole room went dead silent. One read the charges out loud. "Philip Vance, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit property damage, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty." I watched as they cuffed him and let him out, past the news cameras, past the neighbors he'd lorded over for years. No smug grin this time, just a man whose little empire had just burned to the ground. The board voted that night to suspend the AquaClear contract, pending a full review. By the end of the month, over 20 homes in the neighborhood had filed well permits. Vance's fear, the domino effect, had become reality. And standing there, watching those permits go through, I realized something. This wasn't just about my family anymore. It was about the right to choose, the right to protect your home, your kids, your future, from people who think power gives them the right to take it away. It's funny, when this whole thing started, all I wanted was clean water for my kids. Not headlines, not lawsuits, not meetings and cameras and reporters parked outside my house. Just water. Now, we've got it. The well's running strong. The new filtration system hums quietly down in the utility room. Sophie's been clear for months now. No more rashes, no more meds. Anna says the coffee tastes better now, too. And the neighborhood, it's changing. The new interim HOA board scrapped the mandatory water clause, filed to terminate the AquaClear contract, officially this time. More homes are going off-grid every week. Vance is out on bail, but his days in this town are done. And me? I rebuilt the fence around the wellhead. New lock, better lighting, full surveillance. Maybe it's over, maybe it's not. But here's what I know. I won't be bullied again. Neither will my neighbors. The night after the board vote, Anna and I sat out on the back porch. Kids in bed, cool breeze rustling through the trees. She handed me a glass of that clear, cold water. "You started something," she said. I smiled. "I just wanted to stop something," I told her. "Sometimes it's the same thing." I took a sip, leaned back, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like we were home.